This episode is brought to you by Netflix. This Monday night, witness the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell. Come celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Monday Night Raw, November 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix. Be there for the moment everyone will be talking about.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. Thank you for joining me in my spirit parlor today. Let's settle in and I'll light a candle, pour us some tea, and we will talk about some rather big topics today. I really feel moved to explain how I have started to view life as a medium, as well as kind of encourage you to do the same. I have often said on my podcast that I think everyone is capable of mediumship. We are all intuitives. We all have spiritual gifts. And with this, I want to explain how I've arrived to these conclusions. I want to try to explain how, as someone who works with energy and spirit, how I've come to shift my perspective on what life is and what is beyond this material world that we live in, and how, as a medium, I have glimpsed at something greater than our human lives. I have a lot of concepts that I want to touch upon today, so I'm just going to dive into it. First, I want to talk about materialism. Philosophical materialism is the most popular view of the world today. It's the idea that everything is made of matter. Everything that is true can be measured, affected, replicated, and everything is part of the material universe. And that can even go on to include mental states and consciousness. Materialists believe that the mind is a result of physical processes in the brain, that as people, we are just the results of chemical reactions, basically. Now, I don't really believe that the average person is going to leap to that conclusion with materialism, but I thought I would mention all of this because this is the pervasive viewpoint of how we operate our day-to-day life. We rely on what we see, what we experience. If you can touch it and hold it in your hand, it's real. Everything else is just a theory and a concept and can be doubted and analyzed out of existence. I guess in a way, materialism is where the skeptics like to play. There's a reassurance in the ability to measure something and to replicate it. And I get that. There's a reassurance in the ability to rely on the physical world, right? And I'm not here to say that the physical world doesn't exist, that the physical plane is an illusion or a simulation. At best, let's just all agree at the moment that material is true, matter is true, and we live in this physical world. Now, I want to talk about our small mind versus our soul mind. In our day-to-day life, our human mind, our small mind, our ego, okay, it runs the show. This is the cognitive construct of yourself that is learned about the world around you, all the information you've ever taken in your life through experience. Your human brain is analyzing the experiences you've had, like data. And everything you've experienced in your life so far, your human brain has taken all that information and has decided who you are, what life is, what's important, what is it, and what you believe about yourself and the world. I'm going to give you a small example of this. Let's say you picked a new restaurant to go to for dinner for the first time, and when you went there, you got food poisoning and the waitstaff was grumpy towards you. You are going to take that information and form opinions on that restaurant, and you're going to decide those opinions are true. Let's also say that during your dinner, you got up from the table and you tripped and you fell in front of everyone, and you were completely embarrassed by the spectacle that you briefly caused. You're going to form opinions about that too. You are most likely going to judge yourself over it, feel embarrassed, feel shamed. Keep this memory in your head and replay it over and over again and continue to judge yourself on it and form opinions of who you are based on this random event that happened. Now flip that. What if instead you went to the restaurant and you had an amazing experience? The food was delicious. The service there was kind and attentive and better than usual. And you even seemed to be on fire that night. You made jokes to the people you were dining with, and everyone laughed so hard, you just left the place like you were glowing. And with this experience, you're going to form completely different opinions than the first scenario. So really take a moment to step back and think about all of that. It's all based on information that you gathered. You're completely influenced by the experience you had, and your human brain forms opinions on it as if it's absolute truth. We never see things from a point of view of the restaurant just is, the dinner just is, you just are. It's kind of like, imagine an empty room and the only thing in it is a chair. You can look at this chair and decide you absolutely hate it. You can decide it's the wrong chair for the room. You can decide it is the perfect chair for the room. You can decide it's ugly, it's beautiful. And in truth, the chair itself never changes, despite what you think. And all of this is for me to sort of try to explain that our human mind and our ego comes up with all of these decisions every day, hundreds of times a day, and we take them as truth without any question to it. And until you start to take a step back from all of it, this part of your brain really does run the show. And that might seem okay and normal. This could very well be the operating software of the average person. But the problem is your human mind, your ego, it's also judging you. Like I mentioned earlier about the hypothetical story of you tripping in the restaurant, your ego is concerned about how you look and how you're judged. Your ego wants to be safe no matter what. Your human brain, your ego, also hates change, and it speaks to you with a voice of fear. Your human brain is going to form opinions on things even to your own detriment, so that it can stay in charge and stay safe. Your small mind is just so occupied with analyzing and forming opinions about the world around you and who you are in this attempt to stay safe and not feel shame or ridicule or judgment of others or yourself for that matter. This is why so many times you may feel inspired to do something that's just absolutely going to light you up inside and be like, yes, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And then one breath later, you're criticizing it and looking for all the ways it can go wrong and how it won't work. I think we've all been there. And if it's really pervasive, your human brain is going to tell you false stories about yourself and others and situations. How many of us have that little voice in our head that says, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, don't even try, others are better than you. It goes on and on and on. And at this point, you might be like, oh my gosh, well, there's nothing to be done about it, right? This is being a human, and this is the human experience. This is what life is like in the material world. We tend to block ourselves from the fear of the unknown. We're attached to the outcome. We want things to work out perfectly, or we're not going to attempt them at all. And we're afraid of disappointing ourselves and others. In all of this, we really buy into this 3D world as the ultimate truth. We believe we are separated, that we're isolated, that we're alone in an uncaring, cold world. Now, I started talking about this topic with the promise that I wanted to share with you how I've really grown to change my point of view with all of this. And I really do credit the practice of mediumship to helping me with this. Yes, the ego and the human mind is very real, but I look at this as our soul needs to occupy a body for a certain amount of time so that we can have physical world experiences, share them together, and create and manifest and build a world that we want to experience. And part of being here is we're allowed to have these individual experiences. For the most part, we are individuals all experiencing a material world together. I would like to express to you that you are bigger than that. You are more than this. You are a divine soul in a human body, and I see signs of this all the time. Knowing this makes things make sense to me. As a medium, I am connecting and blending with the part of us that is eternal. And what we are lives on completely after our bodies pass away. You are a divine, endless, timeless being. You are consciousness with the limitless ability to manifest and affect the world for the better. I often joke, don't waste your power of consciousness and energy worrying about how many people saw the ketchup stain on your shirt. We are more than that. And I see this with everyone I interact with on this plane and the plane beyond this, from the spirit realm where I communicate with others as a medium. You are absolutely a unique individual, but there are components of you that are bigger than that and connected to something bigger and more divine. And that can never be taken away from you. If you were only just a human being and all you were the sum of your thoughts, take a moment where you clear your brain for a second or pause in between thoughts. You don't pop out of existence. Your thoughts change all the time, yet you remain. Therefore, you are not your thoughts. Your body constantly changes, and yet here you are. Despite injury or illness, you remain the same because you are not your body. You have a body, you have thoughts, but you are not your thoughts and you are not your body. Some people really identify with their emotions. I am angry, I am sad, I am happy. And it's like, no, those are just emotions you have and they come and go and change. Yet you, as a soul, are constant. Shift out of having your human mind and your ego be the only identifying factor in your life. Seek alignment and know that you are part of a bigger source. And at the risk of sounding like a Hallmark card, that source, it really is love. Creation can only come from love. You wouldn't be here if you weren't here to love it, if not to affect the world for the better. And people talk about, if that were true, why is there so much suffering in the world? I believe in free will, and that creates some chaos. I also know that it's never a sheltered, perfect life that makes us empathetic and caring towards others. I truly believe that the hardships we go through make us capable of relating to others, to be able to turn to someone next to you and understand their struggles after healing your own, and to be able to offer that healing to others. Hopefully you can feel this energy shift as we discuss this and stop blocking and letting it flow. And maybe you're not sure. How do you know if it's your ego or your true self, and what does that feel like? Your ego is small and fearful and judgmental and full of doubt. You feel limited, you feel trapped, helpless, scared, ashamed, and you'll be overly concerned on how you're perceived and if you're liked or loved or hated or laughed at. So are you existing in your mind, or are you one with your being? Your higher self, your soul self, is accessed through shifting to a heart focus. Your true self knows that you're more than any petty human judgment from you or from others, and that you're perfect and you don't have to prove anything. You're not the car you drive, the clothes you wear, you're not your job title, and you're certainly not the balance in your bank account. These are just material things. And anything that can be taken or given to you does not affect your true self or your divine nature. Nothing that can be taken from you or given to you affects your true self or your divine nature. I just had to say that a second time. You are your true self when you feel connected and part of something grander than human material existence. This feeling has a sense of flow to it. It also has this sense of dreaminess about it. You know in your heart the universe is boundless and every cell of you is part of it. And beyond that, there is no separation. Everything is energy, and that energy has no lines or boundaries, and it is constantly moving and changing and flowing, and it just is. And when you can tap into this love that you generate and offer and simply pour into the world, that is where magic happens, and everything is magic. With all of this, I want to talk about how the material world, in a sense, is just a wrapper that we are all buying into as absolute truth. But if we can glimpse beyond that to consciousness and the ability to witness and affect and manifest and create, who is the being that is witnessing all of this inside of you? It is greater than the material world, and that is you. You are a spiritual being. Whatever happens in this material world does not change that. And that is beautiful. You are yourself as an individual, but you're also part of something greater than that. You are greater than this human existence. How often have you heard the phrase that you're a divine soul having a human experience? It's absolutely true. You'll have good days and you'll have bad days. But life is about maintenance, and it is about reconnecting with that larger aspect of your soul. I'm very passionate about sharing these concepts, and I really hope that doesn't come off as any kind of preachiness. It is just something that I witness all the time with this shift of perception that I have. And if there's anything I can do to help others shift their perceptions of our existence, I want to be there for it. I want to do it. If you're willing to dive in a little more, play with the concept that Who are we outside of our physical bodies? What continues to exist after this life? What I have experienced as a medium is that we maintain our individuality, but we really are more than that. And we possess this sense of clarity about all of it. It feels like to me that there is a larger divine collective that we are also part of. I believe you can look at it as being part of a energetic field, and this is where we can communicate with each other in what is perceived as any psychic ability. I really think that this collective is what I am blending with as a soul when connecting with others in mediumship. And if you have any experience at all researching or exploring the Akashic records, to me, it is all the same thing. We are putting labels on things and coming at something greater from different perspectives and with different intents, but it is all the same large, vast, wonderful thing. I hope I haven't lost you at this point. But even concepts like astral projection and spirit energy and tulpas, it all seems to support this concept. I just really wanted you to know where my perspectives come from and how I operate as a medium. You have to think of grander concepts than this material world in order to believe that mediumship is real and that you're capable of it. And I think we all are capable of it. I believe that our soul is divine energy and our thoughts are energy forms. When you believe in something, you're going to affect it as true. And when you doubt something, you're also putting that energy into it and you're going to affect it as true. It's like if you believe you're blocked, you're blocked. If you believe you don't have any special abilities, then there's your answer, there's your truth. So I encourage you to take a big, gentle breath and take a step back from this human programming that you have and see how grand it is and how you are absolutely part of it. You are part of something greater. You are greater. And when you can start to shift and dissolve this small human mind, magical things will happen to you. Magical, magical things. Your human mind will tell you that you are small and just an individual and that you aren't grander than you perceive, that you aren't divine, and it'll start ripping this apart. I have experienced this myself. Oh, you're just a small being. Oh, you're not part of something greater. And when we think that way, it's just, again, that ego attacking itself, trying to stay safe, trying to understand, trying to stay small and safe because it doesn't like anything unknown or anything that it can't understand. We want to feel the safety of materialism, and when we can't find that, we will rip it apart until there's nothing left, or we decide that, oh, it can't possibly be true, and you start to reassure yourself in this falsehood that what you see is what you get in order to feel safe. And in doing so, you remain small and fearful in a cold little world where everyone is separated. And that doesn't feel good. That's not a nice place to be. And it's completely false. I know your soul knows differently. I know your soul believes in something greater. It feels it. It is part of it. And if that weren't true, you wouldn't feel this friction. You wouldn't feel this resentment towards your human brain. You wouldn't feel this resistance that happens because you do in your soul know the truth. You are the truth. And that can never be taken away from you. So try to dissolve the ego a little bit. There are those who talk about ego death. I don't believe that we can completely rid ourselves of our human brain. It's just part of the software of being human. It's the operating software that allows us to be in our human body. You can't chuck that out, you know? It's always going to be there on some level, but you can recognize it and you can reassure it and you can quiet it and you can also shift to connect to your soul. And when you notice that your human brain has been running the show for a little while, when you notice, you can shift and you can reconnect with that greater being that you are just by being, just by feeling it, just by paying attention, just by shifting your energy. Start to cultivate your relationship with your true essence of being, your soul and your divine knowing of all of this. And you do that by cultivating trust and faith. There is more than this 3D material world, and you are innately a part of it. On an energetic level, when we love and accept ourselves, we open up to the positive energy of the universe, and it will flow through you. You'll start to connect and have clear and powerful messages from Source because you aren't blocked by doubt, because you're open with love and trust and compassion, and our frequencies line up with like frequencies. And guess what those frequencies are in the universe? So start with self-care, start with loving yourself, start with going within and just sitting with these concepts about being something greater, being something more than a material human, and just start observing the world around you and how it's all connected and how it is grander than anything you can put in a measuring cup. And when you stop associating with your ego and you realize that you're more than that, you also see that most people are operating on that level, and you'll see that most interactions are just egos bumping into each other. And it's almost like you can't take it seriously because it's just this human construct that we put on ourselves based on data and judgments. When you can see that, you'll start to have even more compassion for yourself and for others. And of course, everyone is on their own path. And some people are ready to discover this, and some people aren't. And that's okay. You might listen to this and be like, oh my gosh, Jennifer's cracked. She's gone all woo-woo. She's lost her mind. It's like, come on. I claim to be a medium. What do you expect from me? And I want to share my perspectives, and I welcome conversations about it. I love talking about this all so much. And to be clear, I don't think I have all the answers. I'm only scratching the surface. I often say it's like looking through a keyhole at the universe, and you're like, oh yeah, I get it. I see all of it. No, we're all just looking through this keyhole and trying to fill in the blanks and figure out what it all means. But I welcome it. I welcome the conversations. So let me sum up a little bit. We have the small human mind with our human experiences, and we are constantly judging and analyzing and deciding what is true and what isn't in the world, criticizing and all of that. And there's the material world in which we're all playing and affecting and working with. But there is more than that. You are more than that. You are bigger than that. You are so divine. You are a soul, and that soul is part of a greater collective. We're just here having an individual experience because it's unique, and it's amazing to be here to have that individual experience because in a way it's quieter, and you can manifest and you can affect and you can create a world around you and share it with others. And that is amazingly magical and precious and fleeting. And we should celebrate being here and not waste our time on ketchup stains, but not waste our time on judging ourselves and judging others, worrying about how we're perceived or not perceived, or how you even perceive yourself. You are bigger than that. It is unique and magical to be here, but you're also part of something unique and magical and bigger than this. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. If you have thoughts on the matter, and if you can make other connections as to how this works in other aspects of life, I would love to hear it. So please leave a comment where you can. If you're listening to this episode, say on Spotify, you can leave a comment there. And of course, you can always email me at speaknow@italktoghosts.com. Thank you so much for holding space for me and entertaining these grand, larger concepts. And I hope it nudges you to shift and see things a little differently, and that it brings a sense of connection and grandness and divinity in yourself. And with that, join me on Friday for some spooky stories, and also I will share some of my spirit work with you so you can see my work directly and witness how I operate as a spirit medium. Until then, take care.
Hey there, I'm Susie, and I'm the host of Beyond the Ferns podcast. Each week, I take you beyond the headlines into the stories that linger long after the news fades. From chilling true crime and unsolved cold cases, to paranormal encounters, cults, and extraordinary survival stories. It's a little bit of everything for everyone. Whether you're drawn to mysteries, fascinated by the strange and unexplained, or simply love a good story, I focus on the truth, the details, and above all, justice for the victims and survivors. So buckle up. Things are about to get a little scary. Follow Beyond the Ferns wherever you get your podcast. Thanks, y'all.
Welcome to Brew Crime, a true crime and beer podcast. Join me, Mike,
and me, JT,
as we explore the world of crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is a podcast where we pick a theme, cover a few cases, and pair them with a brew.
Between themes, we do what we call Brew Crime News, a funny look at current news stories, be it crime, animals, sports, or even celebrities.
You can find us on all social media at Brew Crime. Our website is brewcrime.com, and you can find us on any podcast app at Brew Crime Podcast.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us, and maybe, definitely, tip a bottle or two back as you do it. Drink with us weekly.